Today I'm back on the SP404-MK2 and I want to walk you around repitching, changing tempos and all the different ways you can kind of do that on this device. Sometimes you need to change the tempo and not the pitch. Sometimes you need to change the pitch and not the tempo. Sometimes you just can do both at the same time and it's not really a problem. I'm going to walk you through how you do all of that on this device. I genuinely can't remember if I've done a video covering this before, but if I have, then I guess it's a nice refresher. So I have this sample here on E1, I'm in bank E and pad 1. That's a really nice sounding sample. The first thing that I'm going to do is make a copy, so copy 1 to 5. And a really good little shortcut here, if you want to change between what pad the SP has selected, these little tips will help. So you can see here on the screen it says E1. So we're in bank E, pad 1, that is what the machine currently has selected. If we want to change to a different pad, but we don't want to trigger the sound of it, we can hold the value wheel and press the button. You can see there now the screen says E5, I've changed to E5 and we didn't make a sound with the device. It's really handy that when you're on the machine for long periods of time, it just makes it a little bit nicer than having to hear this every time you're changing a sample like that. So now let's go into pitch and speed. So let's press this button here. And the first thing that I like to do is get a better tempo reading than we currently have on the screen. You can see here that the device is saying that the BPM is 90 BPM. I know just from hearing that it's definitely not right. So luckily we can go ahead and change this easily. We've got BPM set here down in the bottom corner and it currently says manual and it says value 90. And if we go down here to the bottom of the device, you can see that the sub pad is flashing. The sub pad is going to enable us to tap along with this sample and find the BPM. So let's go ahead and do that first. Okay, I'm happy with that I got it in time. So that's saying it's about 54 BPM. That's a lot more accurate now. So it's going to make changing these values make a lot more sense. So first of all, in the default state here, we're in vinyl mode. If I go ahead and change the pitch, you can see that the speed changes as well. If I go ahead and change the speed, you can see that the pitch changes as well. So they're not working independently at this point. They're basically working together and we can see the value of the BPM is changing as well. It's getting slower or it's getting faster, depending on what we're doing with those dials. So this isn't ideal, but it can work in some situations. And what I will say about the vinyl mode is that it's very smooth for repitching. So if I take this down, say 5, you'll hear no additional artifacts or anything. It just sounds really nice and it'll slow the sample down. Likewise, if we go up, so you could use that to get it to the tempo that you wanted and get a nice clean sound, but that's not always desirable. So how do we change these independently? Well, it's really straightforward. We just have to use shift. So we hold down shift and you can see here now the bottom of the screen has changed. It's saying vinyl yes, vary off. We need to get into the vary mode and we do that by using the value wheel here. So let's scroll across. We get 3 different options. We get ensemble, backing, and off. Now feel free to experiment between these 3, but according to the manual, backing is best for kind of percussion and drums if you want to repitch or time stretch those, and ensemble is better for more sort of intricate melodies like we have here. So I'm going to stick with ensemble mode for this particular example. You let go of shift and it automatically comes out of that mode. So the first thing that I'm going to do is change the pitch and you'll see that the speed of the sample isn't affected now. So here we go. We'll go down to -5. So the pitch of the sample has now changed. The speed is the same as it was originally, but we're starting to get those artifacts. So you do have to be careful. It's kind of just part of the charm of using the SP404-MK2 for this particular operation. You are going to get a slight sort of whirring sound to the sample. And similarly, if we go up with our pitch as well, again, it's not sounding quite perfect, but it's part of the charm of using this device. So try and keep it minimal with the pitch, I'd say. So maybe just -2. We're getting some repitch in there, but it's not doing too much to the sample to ruin it. Now, similarly, if we wanted to change the speed and keep the pitch, we can do that. So obviously 54 is quite slow. Let's say we wanted to go up to say 75 or 76, that kind of area where we can definitely make a beat with it. So we're at 139% of the original speed. You can see there that's worked, but again, we're getting that kind of whirring sort of sound with the artifact, so not ideal. And we can go down as well if we wanted to. Okay, so again, it works, but it's not exactly the cleanest thing in the world. But there we go. I mean, now we can independently change both of those. And if you wanted to do both at the same time, you can do that too. So let's say we want to change the speed and the pitch. So I want it faster. Let's say we'll take it up to about 65. We'll drop it down, say -3. We can do those independently, both at the same time. And now we're getting somewhere that's usable and sounds a little bit darker as well. So that is, generally speaking, how you can manipulate your samples in terms of tempo and pitch. You've got the default option, which is vinyl. Then you have the sort of vary modes with ensemble, backing and off. Like I say, make sure you experiment with those. They are designed specifically for drums for backing and ensemble for melodic sounds, but you know, there's no rules in this. Experiment and see what sounds best for your sample. I hope that information was useful, guys. Like I say, I can't actually remember if I've covered that before. Just before I leave you, don't forget to check out SPVIDZ.com. That's my shop for this particular channel and it keeps me funded making these videos. Check out all the links in the description. I've got drum packs, merch and accessories for the SP devices as well, so definitely worth a visit and it keeps me doing what I'm doing here. Thanks for watching, guys. Keep pushing buttons and I will see you again in another video very soon.